It's worth pointing out that City and West Ham play tomorrow night. I know there's Champions League football, but we do have that covered, of course, here on B.
So it sounds like it might have been quite a worrying moment while it was being reviewed for you.
Yeah, definitely, because I knew at the time I did catch him, but I knew at the time I didn't have no intent to hurt him or kick him. It was literally just a natural reaction to straighten my leg. It wasn't a kick. Obviously I've got studs on the end of my boots, so it probably makes it a little bit worse. But no, I apologise to him, but no, it was nice that the referee seen sense.
He's a lucky boy, Harry.
You can be sure that come the weekend, Jose Mourinho will have something to say about that because he was never happy about Son sending off
Probably
in the first
tomorrow.
place. And you can see why, can't you? Two goals Chelsea scored in amongst all that tonight. The first one, I know you've had a very close look at, should have stood, shouldn't it?
Well, the commentators were talking about the push and Brandon Williams going to ground, and it looks like cut and dried that that's the decision. But if you look at it more carefully, Richard, actually Fred, who's marking Azpilicueta, pushes him into Brandon. Watch this, we've highlighted it. Keep your eye on Fred now. So he runs across and then there's a push and he just pushes him into him.
Azpilicueta would not have been that daft, would he, to have made such an obvious mistake as that had he not been pushed into him?
I mean, and he pushes him into him.
Where's he supposed to go?
So he's got nowhere to go. He's trying to win the ball, you see. He puts his hands up, tries to win the header, misses it. There you go, there's the push. Now I know the commentators are saying, well, it's not the same as two hands. Hold on a minute. If you're disallowing a goal for Brandon Williams going to ground the way he did for the amount of contact, then there was equally
he saw it.
There was that amount of contact on Azpilicueta. I thought they got that wrong, in my opinion.
And of course the second one, yes, the way that we interpret VAR at the moment, it should be disallowed, but it's robbed us of a really good 10-15 minute finish. And should we be ruling goals out like this for toenails or stray toe caps?
It's a great finish. You have to say, Olivier Giroud, out of the team, wants to come on, make an impression. It's a fantastic run. He's getting in areas that are going to hurt the opposition. Great ball in, gets across. Fantastic goal.
Do you know that old adage, Sparky, of giving the forward the advantage? Because that's what we want to see in football. Exactly, we want to see goals. And when you see that last angle, not this one, when they can do what they like with that. We know what they can do with that. When you see that 18-yard line camera, Richard, and you see the cross and you see the header, you would never in a million years say offside. No. Never.
That's 39 goals this year disallowed by VAR, and 29 of them in those circumstances. Now,
I suppose the argument is that it's a correct decision.
But let me tell you, Mark, there is change coming.
And
there's change coming in March.
I just think
that will mean goals like that stand. Now, where does that put what's previously happened this season in the context of the change
I just think
and the integrity of the competition?
Well, there is that. I just think that the parameters they're using and the measurements on those lines, they're talking about increasing thickness of the line, and they need to give the advantage back to the attacking team.
Why don't we just look across the line with a naked eye and say, is it on or off?
Well, that 18-yard line camera, Richard, honestly, you see it when the ball's crossed. If you can put that 18-yard line back in, the camera, the shot there, you look at it, and all you would say is you'd look at that and you go, that's a goal. And you wouldn't get an argument from Manchester United. You really wouldn't.
No.
I mean, watch this angle here. And when it's stopped, when it's frozen right at the point of the cross coming in. Now, you tell me, would anyone complain about that being given?
I wouldn't.
No, you can't. I mean, there's nothing in that says to me, Olivier Giroud's offside. Nothing.
No.
But you dissect it.
Yeah, and VAR
was detail. But that's not the sport we love. That's not the sport we watch. Well, it's not meant to be forensically examined.
No, what I said. It's killed the last 15 minutes. We had a game on our hands there.
It was brought in to get the key decisions, the big decisions in these type of games. Two huge clubs going head to head. The decision to bring VAR in was to get the big decisions.
So do you think big decisions tonight have been called correctly?
No, that's the point. He was brought in to get key decisions right, and they haven't got them right.
No, not one of them.
No.
Not one of them.
Not all.
Incidentally, Mino Raiola has been on Twitter again tonight. He, of course, is Paul Pogba's agent. If you've been reading and following the story, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said at the weekend, he made the point that Paul Pogba is not Raiola's property. He's ours, he said, at Manchester United. This is the response from Raiola today, and I have some sympathy with this. Paul is not mine, he says, and for sure, not Solskjaer's property. Paul is Paul Pogba's. You cannot own a human being already for a long time in the UK or anywhere else. I hope Solskjaer does not want to suggest that Paul is his prisoner. He goes on. Read it for yourself. Mark?
Yeah, well, he's got a point. Paul Pogba is clearly an intelligent guy. He'll make decisions that you think are right for him. Yes, he's under contract, but it looks like there's going to be a parting of the ways, you would suggest. Because
would you, if you were advising Manchester United, would you encourage that parting?
Listen, I'm not privy to the goings-on of what's been said between all the parties.
I appreciate that, but as a Manchester United fan...
I think it's just gone on for a little bit too long. I think they've moved on without him as well. He's been out injured, clearly hasn't been able to play and have an impact for them. But there comes a point where it's a natural parting, and I think we're probably at that point now.
Would you encourage?
Yes. Yes, I think that... I don't think it's a good fit now. I think that from what I think United are going, they're introducing young players into say Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka, bringing young players in, and therefore you need. And I don't know Paul, but I think that from the outside looking in, is he the perfect role model for young players coming in? I'm not so sure he is, right? And I may be doing him a disservice, and if I am, apologies. But from the outside looking in, I don't think he is, and I think that. I don't see a way. There is a way back for him. Obviously, if he starts playing and he starts playing well, then there'll be a way back. But there's too much going on, I think, over the last year. About last summer they wanted out. They didn't get him out last summer. His agent didn't get him out. He had to stay. He's hardly kicked the ball, as Mark says. I read today that Solskjaer saying he's desperate to be back playing for Manchester United. He doesn't give me that impression he's desperate to be back playing for Manchester United. I have to be honest. And I don't know what effect he would have on the rest of the team if you bring him straight back in again and start playing him. Maybe they'll keep going, and maybe they will. But it seems to me the most natural thing to happen, and the best thing for both. Would be if Paul went somewhere else. It seems that's what he wants.
Frustrating managing a football club when modern day players have the entourage and the advice that they would appear to get from outside of your influence?
Well, actually, what players sometimes forget is that the people that have got their best interests at heart and the ones that want them to be most successful is arguably their teammates and absolutely the manager, because the success of players reflects on you as a manager because you're successful. So unfortunately that seems to be missed by a lot of players when they're in these situations, and they defer to family members, as you would do, to agents, and rather than the people that actually can help them and want to help them be better football players for the club that they're actually at. So it's always been the same, always been that way.
But if you have one, and Andy's already made the point, if we're wrong, okay, but looking in from the outside, he appears to be that bad apple that unfortunately can infect others around and about. You'd call it a day, wouldn't you, and just encourage him away? There's
big figures involved, obviously. They're not going to let a commodity like Paul Pogba, given his standing in the game, he's a brand as well. He's not just a footballer. He's Paul Pogba. I mean, it comes into the equation, you know. So
he does make that point often.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the modern day footballer. They carry that with them as well. So there's value in that for football clubs as well.
Harry Maguire feel refreshed and want back now?
No, I've had a decent break. I felt I needed that. I had a long period at Stoke and then jumped into Southampton because that was a great opportunity for me. Since I've left Southampton, I'm probably having the break that I should have had after Stoke.
Yes, I was about to ask that. You feel you need to step away now?
Yeah, that's done now.
But you're ready to go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Well, I hope that you're working before we invite you back, but on the other hand, I equally hope that we can invite you back before you start working. Because it's been great. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Mark Hughes, thank you very much. That's it. Angus Scott, Ruud Gullit and Marcel Desailly here through Tuesday, Wednesday with our Champions League football. We're down to the round of 16. Enjoy.